Hey everybody, so welcome back to the Layman's Terms podcast, where we break down real estate the way it actually works. No fluff, just facts. So today's guest isn't just my attorney, he's the guy I call when things go bad, and they do. Right? So Joe Seagle is a Florida-based real estate attorney and one of the top minds when it comes to land trusts, private lending protections, structuring deals, keeping me out of trouble, and to making sure things don't fall apart. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I try to keep things from falling apart. That's my number one thing.
So we've been, like 4 or 5, since the beginning almost. I came to you like in the beginning, like a year later. I don't know if you remember, I was buying some duplexes that went bad and you fixed it over like a weekend.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, I'm all in. Then we did, we had a little title journey, and we're glad we're out of that together, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Got out of title, man. I'm done with doing title work if I can help. Almost 30 years of it.
It's funny. Your assistant, your paralegal back then, thought I was another of your bigger clients because I wasn't big yet, and she just got the Toms thankfully confused and took really good care of me. And I know how to close title work now because of all the work her and I did together.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. She had lots of experience, and I've had lots of experience. We've done title. Gosh, I mean, I'd been doing title since 1996. And in 2023, I was like, yeah, I can't. I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, but you got to say, it's a competitive business in some ways, but it's a pain. Mm-hmm. And especially when you deal with investors, right? And you were an investor title company too, and we're not easy ever to work with.
Well, and we were seeing too, especially coming into 2022 as interest rates were going up, we were seeing a 50% cancellation rate. So I'm having to stay staffed for 100%, and 50% aren't closing. It was killing us economically, and I'd been through probably 3 recessions, housing recessions, and I said, I'm not going through another one, and I just went ahead and shut down the title company back then. I still know title, and I represent a lot of title companies, mm-hmm. work with a lot of title companies, love the business side of it, and can help a lot of people with it. But if I never have to sit down at a table and do another residential title closing again in my life, it'll be too soon.
I know we have 5 still left for the month, and I saw a HUD. That's all I have to do these days, hopefully, right? I mean, it was part of the journey and all that. And I just want to show everybody. So I'm not saying Joe's an expert for no reason. He writes the book on it, okay? And so he sent me the book, and I tried to read it, and it was really difficult for me. So I'm like, oh, great. When I have a question, I know who to just call.
The first chapter is really slow. I always tell everybody just skip the first chapter. It goes into the history of land trust. After that, it gets juicy. It gets good. I put in a lot of stories over the years that I've had of land trusts and what have happened with them, what's gone good and what's gone bad. And that's one of the things. I mean, we had the land trust company at the same time I had the title company, and they worked really hand in glove because we could do the closing and we had the land trust.
Oh yeah.
So we were either the seller or the buyer, and we were the closing agent. So it worked just seamlessly for clients. And then when I closed the title company, Mark Warda was getting out of. He was retiring, and Mark was sort of the godfather of land trust in Florida. He was amazing, and really got it going in Florida. He had about 1,600 trusts in Land Trust Service Corporation, and I had about 400 in TRSTE. And he's like, I've got to retire. I haven't had a vacation in 5 years. And so I went ahead and said, fine, I just sold this title company and I can buy your law firm. So I took over his law firm and his land trust practice.
I remember when those paper files came to your office.
Oh my God. 1,600 paper files came in one day, and we had to.
I got a picture. So, I was really, I'm a personable person, I guess, with the office, and I knew people well there. And when it came in, they were like, "Holy blank!" They weren't kidding when it was paper files. We thought it was a joke.
Yeah, and we're totally paperless. We don't use paper. So
save trees.
Yeah, so we got all those paper files, sent them off to a scanning company. Mm-hmm. They scanned it. We got it in. Now we've got everything
as it should be.
Finally under control. About 2 years later, we're finally 100%. We've got it all in the system and under control now. So it works out well.
So. Obviously, we're talking about, the book here, Title, Investors, Land Trust. One thing you've done, you've just said how it was so simple back to front, and front to back. Because for me, I just sent it over in the beginning. We bought it there. We put it in the land trust. We closed it there. Mm-hmm. And I never then all those craziness of having to like, where's this document, where's document, there is that. And I did get to appreciate, I hated it in the beginning, Qualia. I love that I can still go and look. I just remember because it was the trust that used to send me all these things. I'm like, stop this.
Yeah. No, Qualia is a great closing software for title companies. We switched to it there at the end in the last year that I had the title company. It's really, really good, but it does put a lot of work back on the realtor. It puts a lot of work back on the client you have to go in, you have to put in information.
Well, you were the client technically because you're the trustee for me. That's what we had to fix, right?
Exactly, because it kept sending things after you saying, here, fill this out, and it's really, well, we're the trustee, we're really the owner of the property, so we're the ones that should be filling it out. So we got to the point where we went, oh yeah, these are Tom's deals. Take that off so he's not getting all those emails from Qualia.
Why aren't more real estate investors using land trust?
I think a lot of real estate investors don't use land trusts because they don't understand them or they simply don't know about them. We see a lot of people come in from out of state.
Okay.
And it's a Florida thing, it's an Illinois thing very heavily to use land trusts. And it jumps first to mind whenever you're in Florida, if you've been here a long time, you go straight to land trusts. I mean, land trusts, they really came into Florida heavily under Walt Disney when he was assembling the 27,000 acres that eventually became Walt Disney World. And he needed a way to hide who was really buying, because if these swamp guys down in Osceola County and Lake County and Orange knew that Walter Disney was coming in buying land to build his new park, they would jack the prices up. So he sent out bankers under land trust, and they bought all these parcels of property and they assembled it into one big park and titled it over into Walt Disney Corporation. But over the years, we really refined it. And I sat on with Mark Warda. We were on the last two subcommittees.
He's on the book too?
Yeah. And Mark wrote the first versions of the book, the first 10 editions. I wrote the 11th.
Which is probably the best.
Yes, it's much. It's the best version because it has all the stories in it. But getting to that point, a lot of people didn't know about it, and over time, it's just us being evangelists for it. And now,
good word, right? Because it's as an investor, it's like I don't know nothing anymore.
Right, and that's the thing. A lot of people immediately from out of state, if they're coming into Florida, they go LLCs. I need LLCs. The problem is with that LLC, you don't get the same niceties that you get with a land trust.
Well, yeah, you don't get the same protection.
Right.
Well, look, remember last year we had that land deal we had to sell, and there was issues at the final end of permitting for who we sold it to, which no one knew about. And who were they going to sue? Everybody but me.
Right.
Because the land trust went out of business, so you can't sue me. They were going to sue you, and and you were like, yeah, they're just going to sue us probably, but it's part of it.
Yep. No, and that's the biggest thing I tell people. I go, look, if you're using an LLC, and just this morning I woke up, first email I had was a 17-page demand letter from a lawyer threatening to sue an LLC that I used to represent, that they sold this property and they're suing them for fraud and misrepresentation and all these other causes of action, but they're suing the LLC because, well, the LLC still exists. Right. And I'm like, well, if these guys had just had a land trust that they had held this property in, and then the land trust sold the property, they're going to sue the land trust.
That's not there.
For fraud and misrepresentation. Okay, fine. The land trust doesn't exist anymore, and the only asset it had was that property that you guys bought. So good luck getting any money.
And I hope there's your best evangelical statement right there, because I always hear it's too cumbersome, it's too expensive, and I'm like, what's peace of mind worth?
Right.
It's like when I hear people don't get insurance on deals. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Look, with what we do, we make sure, even though it's not hurricane season on our deals, we still get wind and hail, because if it's not, we name everything today, right? Tropical storm, wind blowing Tom, whatever it is, right? And once they put that name on it, you're not insured correctly.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you think it's worth it? I was like, man, I just know that having made enough mistakes, that's a mistake I don't want to make. Yeah. And for what, a couple dollars? Like when they tell me how much they think it costs, it's like, what?
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know how many I have with you right now, probably about 60 of them between rentals and deals. Me and your team, we're trying to keep it.
Yeah. Lots of spreadsheets.
It's fixed now, right?
Yeah.
Because that's because you're when they changed everything over, it got really weird.
Yeah. But and insurance is a big thing. I had a client one time that he owned everything in LLCs. And then he said, okay, well, I'm going to put everything in land trust. And then he goes, nope, I'm going to take everything back out and put it in one big LLC, and I'm going to go naked. No more insurance on anything, because he had around 300 properties. No insurance on anything. The very next day, one of the houses burned to the ground. And he's like, well, there goes $30,000-$40,000 I wasn't planning to spend today. And I said, well, that's why you have insurance. It spreads risk. It spreads that risk out.
And for somebody, we work so hard to get to a point, and now that's just a cost of doing business.
Yeah.
And when I hear that, I start hearing this song when people say these things to me. If I only had a brain, right? Because what's the point of working to get here, and you're going to open yourself up to no insurance, lawsuits? Look, as having the acquisition company, we don't have it anymore. Knowing how to track people down and teaching people to call and buy houses, I don't get those calls anymore. Right? I love that. Like, I have a lot, still one or two, that's in the LLC. We still get calls on it.
Yep.
I got a guy who called my wife's phone and said his grandmother's ring or hand with the ring is buried on the lot.
Nothing surprises me. I've heard it all.
Craziness. What's the biggest myth you hear from investors, that they believe about land trusts?
Well, I think that when you said that they're really expensive. Another
Can
one
I ask what you charge and tell them on camera?
Yeah. We charge right now. We charge $400 for a land trust to go. If you already own the property and you just want to move it into a land trust, that's $400 plus recording fees for the deed.
Oh my God! It's like a good dinner and
it's much cheaper than an LLC. So the expense, and that it's only for very wealthy people. Don't get me wrong. I mean, probably the most expensive property we have right now, still in our management, is $100 million. It's a house down in Miami. But we just did a closing a couple of weeks ago. It actually made the news. It was almost $23 million. It wasn't a house. It was just a lot, a piece of land, a residential piece of land bought by the neighbor across the street, and we were the trustee that sold it. But no one knows who that seller was. So there are expensive things that we have, but we still charge those folks the same, the $400, the $200, whatever it is at the time.
And rich people are careful with money more than people think.
Actually, the seller, it's funny, the seller of the $23 million one, the beneficiaries, business managers have written us to ask us to prorate the trustee fee for the year. We charge $165 a year to be trustee. They wanted us to prorate it because we were only trustee for 4 months instead of the rest of the year. And I'm like, they just made $23 million on a lot. What are they talking about?
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't even look at all my paperwork and never say that, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't make $23 million on anything.
Yeah.
So
it blows my mind.
So, we obviously use land trusts in our deals. And can you break down the difference between, say, asset protection, privacy? Because I get confused a lot.
Yeah, and they sort of go hand in glove. The privacy comes from the land trust because our name appears on everything. So you talk about getting the text, the junk mail, the requests about, hey, I want to buy your lot. I love the mail coming to you. I know. Do you want to buy this lot? Or can we buy your house? I probably get 100 texts a day to my personal cell phone. We get probably 10 pounds a week of junk mail at the office out of all the mail we get. Because we've got about 2,000 properties we're trustee of, so we get a lot of junk mail.
Oh yeah,
and
I get a lot of mail from you the right way, scanned in email.
Yeah.
So simple.
So and we process all that. So all that's coming through us. So the privacy aspect of it is it's us. Our name's out there, so you're getting privacy, but the asset protection comes from it in that, well, sort of like an LLC. You separate it. It's in its own little container. It's in a land trust. That property is in its own little container there. So if something happens at that property, liability, that property is at stake, but not everything else you own. So each property is in its own little container, which with a land trust, with an LLC, that gets a little expensive. With a land trust, it's a lot cheaper. But the other part of the asset protection comes in when they go, hey, I think I want to sue Tom on this contract dispute I've got. But let's see what Tom has, because I want to see if he's worth what I'm going to throw good money after bad. And they're going to look up Tom, and Tom's going to look broke because Tom doesn't own anything, because his name doesn't appear on anything. So that's the other side of the asset protection that the land trust provides, is we make people look broke. And if you look broke, you're not a big target, because they go,
Not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth suing him, because I know he signed this personal guarantee, but he doesn't own anything that we can even go after anyway, so why bother?
You know, there was another guy doing what I do out in Citrus County, and I was doing comps one day, and for something we have out there, and I see my trustee, you. I'm like, who's out here doing? And then I'm like, but see, now where he screwed up was he put his name still in the MLS, and I was like, David, why would you do that? What is? And you know, he never. That was the guy who funded him. He actually called me last week because it was a disaster for him. David, we won't say his name. We'll talk later. He showed up Saturday for my investor meetup to help him, right? You know, because it's, dude, I paved the path. Just follow it.
Well, and that's the thing I tell people. It's like, you got to be very careful where your name is popping up, because it will get associated with it. And a lot of people go, well, I'm just going to sign the listing documents. And then they give it to their realtor, and their realtor goes, okay, well, you signed it, so I'm going to put your name in to the paperwork and everything else. He's like, just send to us. That's another myth I think that a lot of people have about land trusts, is they go, well, it just takes so long to get anything signed. We have to send it to the trustee, get it signed, get it back.
You're quick. So I'm going to say about that, and you know, when it comes to, and we broke it down even better, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you've had some change and you're putting in new people in place, and we all as business owners, I mean, it's whack-a-mole.
Well, and we always look at scaling, and you know, when you've got 2,000 properties across Florida that you're dealing with day in, day out, you've got to have processes and people in place to deal with that. So we have, everything comes in to sign at mylandtrustee.com into that inbox. We've got 1 or 2 people all day long. All they do is watch that. If it's something that can just be e-signed, they put it in a system, and it comes to me 2 or 3 times a day. I go in, click, 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 sign. It's done. It goes right back out to the people. If it needs to be notarized, we have 13 notaries in the office.
Except on New Year's Eve when you're in North Carolina.
New Year's Eve.
And your paralegal goes to Mexico last minute.
Yes, and I have to
come off your mountain.
I come off my mountain. I go to my UPS store. I sign. I notarize.
And this was for my last closing of the year, which made my number.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, Joe's coming off his snowy mountain.
I did.
And I was on a sunny beach, and I thank you very much for that.
I did. I came down. I said, well, that's another thing. I mean, a great selling point of the land trust. Everybody. You have your virtual assistant who handles your contracts, your transaction coordination, you know, this, that, finding your deals, putting it all together. You've got all these people, but then when it comes to closing, well, I've got to sign. If it's my LLC, I have to show up to sign everything. So I'm going to have to find a notary. So yeah, if you are at the beach, well, let me go find a notary. I got to sign these documents.
So when we close, I sign one document, and we have a property we pulled out of the LLC because of the lender, and we're selling it. I think it's tomorrow. I had to sign with my wife yesterday. I think it was like 16 page. I forgot how cumbersome that can be.
Yeah.
So imagine when you're doing it on scale too.
Yeah.
All I would be doing this is all, you know, now I just do one.
Right.
I like one.
Right. You can't scale as a real estate investor if you are having to physically deal with signing all the documents every day, all day long.
Oh, yeah.
If you're really balling, if you're really doing the work, there's no way you can do it. But with the land trust, you basically outsource that. It's like, here now, I've got somebody else who's dealing with signing all these documents. They're dealing with the title company going, hey, get me the documents, get me the money, I'll wire it back out.
Think about it, how long, you know, you and I have been 5 years on this journey, and you saw when I was doing like a one deal every couple of months to several a month, and more from there as we built this out. And what I've come to learn is I had to learn how to sing Let It Go, so like Frozen, okay? It took a long time. I don't know what goes on in a lot of places anymore in the business, but that's the only way I could do. Like we talk about scaling, and you know you've done that as well, right? And so, what people don't realize is that, and I can say this is what a great legal mind you are, right? You give good advice.
Thank you.
You've kept me legal. Probably out of trouble. Oh no! And then you said, "Oh, I know who you were talking to about that before." You know, but you know, people need to realize this is a relationship business, and we've built one in the sense that you have to have a good accountant, a good attorney, and people don't think that's valuable today.
Yeah, well, they don't want to spend the money, and it's like Kiyosaki said, and Rich Dad Poor Dad, and all the other books he's written. It's like if you've got a great broker, a great attorney, a great CPA, the amount of money that they should be saving you or making you each year should far outweigh anything you're paying them.
So, look, I have a CPA who does my books monthly. I pay her $3,000. I save 6 to 7 hours a week.
Yeah.
My hourly is $1,000. So I pay for her week one. And when it's stamped, it's her, right? And then the guy who does my taxes, he's another CPA.
Yeah.
They don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
Because we've built it correctly
Right.
to where, how they see everything. You have to be 100% open, though, right? You just got to show them everything and say, because that's what we
Right.
did 2 years ago. We needed to become bankable, as we finally did, and we did a forensic audit. We were only a couple $1,000s difference between where I was and them. To them, that couple thousand's like, oh my God, look how, and I'm like, you're telling me if it was under 4,000 I was off by?
Yeah.
I'm like, I did it. You're saying that doesn't work. Well, for me it does, because I didn't pay you all this money.
Right. Right.
It was, I think I was off by 4, but I paid them 10 to do the 3-year audit of me.
Right. Right.
Like, I thought I won on my own then.
But you said bankable, and that's a big thing there, because without that outside audit, those people looking at it, no bank they're going to look at it and go, oh, Tom's doing his own books. We trust those, right? Yeah. No, they're not going to give you any money based on that. They're not going to trust you.
And
they want a third party looking at things.
Coming from the CPA, here it is, right? And they loved it,
Right.
Because to scale with private, as we've done, and thank you, all that, but to go more, you have to bring in institutional money.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing, we're taught as investors, banks bad.
Right.
In the beginning, they are. But when you get to a point where it's basically like you're commercial now, they're not bad anymore.
Right.
Because like, oh yeah, we're going to lend to you at 8%. You don't got to pay us anything till 60 days after delivery.
Right.
And when I transfer like the properties around, it's a $20 fee. And I was like, ask him if that's a typo, Jeannie. Because I just, $20? Right. But people don't want to put that work in.
Right.
And my wife saw me someday. She's like, is it worth it? I said, I hope so.
No, in the long run, it definitely is, because of that. You do save so much money over the long run, you end up making more money.
Right. But people have to also remember that when you, look, I come into your office, we decided we're going to do it lunch instead, quarterly, whatever it is, right? And so I'm paying because I'm getting a value. People don't think that's a value. I do, in the sense because, and you and I can get off on tangents, and we ended up, I remember one day talking about Ally McBeal and a dancing baby, right? Remember that?
We did get off on crazy stuff.
Yeah, but that's important in this business, because if I call a lawyer who doesn't know me when I have a problem, I'm getting I don't know me attitude. Like, give me all your money and I'll see what I can do for you.
Well, and it's not just that, but they know all your moving parts. So you may be thinking, hey, I've got this deal and I'm running down this dirt road on this deal. But the lawyer remembers, but wait, we just finished paving a road over here that we just ran down. And if you go down the dirt road, you're going to screw up everything that we did over here. So we need to make sure we fix this before you do that, or you're going to really mess up what we've done in the past. Or we remember what you've done in the past, and we go, yeah, remember you did this before, and this is how we did it before. So let's just do that again, and we've got the same framework. A lot of times, I mean, I've got one right now. It's the third sale for this guy I've done for his business. He sold it 3 times. And he's come back to me again because he's selling it again, and I've already got the paperwork. So it's like, oh yeah, I can do all this because I've already got your paperwork that I've done before. So going back to the same people, a lot of people don't like to go back to the same professionals over and over because they're thinking, well, maybe I'll get a better deal from somebody else or something. It's like, well, yeah, but you're going to spend hours and hours rebuilding the house, starting all over.
Yeah, so again, this is a relationship business, and having dealt with other lawyers, it's not just, we never want to use the word comfortable, but I know I'm going to be taken care of, right? I know, look, you were texting me Sunday morning on something, right? I appreciate that. You didn't, it was a response to something from the day before, but you don't get that other places. And I also know the advice I get, sometimes, and I remember another attorney saying, oh, it was a little bit of what I do, and a little bit over here, wouldn't give me any answer. Oh no, you have to go talk to somebody else. And you've pointed me to other people. Oh, you need to go over here, right? Remember, it was eviction stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I don't do
and
those.
I don't like my eviction attorney. Okay, but he's the right attorney for it. I just saw how he was on emails to the other attorney. I was like, oh, I'd kill him because the other attorney wasn't an attorney he was less than a year, and the guy said, I know you've been an attorney for less than a year, but let me. I'm like, what a jerk, and so. Being that I am a jerk, I kind of appreciate it, but I'm like, what a jerk, right? Because remember, I got sued at my property management company because my other business partner made me give a note that was wrong. And we sued a professional tenant, or we gave it to a professional tenant who wasn't late. We gave him a 3 months, cost me like $2,500.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, evictions can get you in a lot of trouble real fast.
That's why we always,
Yeah, turn it over quick.
And my leases, you've seen my lease too. We've added, we make everybody initial everything, and we never call it an eviction, right? We have a contract.
Right.
And if you don't live up to your terms, it's a breach of contract because you want to get that word out as quickly as possible.
Right.
Right. So look, we're going into weird times as usual. Like I'm a believer. You and I are different on beliefs, right, in a lot of ways. And I love that fact that I can get a different opinion too from you, because I believe that Americans are going to be fine no matter what. We'll figure it out. But we are heading into rough, tumble waters again. It's up and down, like the last year, right? And I'm not going to ask you to pull out your crystal ball, but what do you really see coming?
Who knows?
That's what I think too.
Really, who knows? One day it'll be, we're definitely going into a recession before the end of the year, and it's going to be horrible. Next minute, it's like, okay, well, it looks like things are going to settle down, but you don't know. When you drop a boulder into a pond, it creates a lot of ripples. And right now we have just these giant boulders just keep dropping.
But that's what dude is good for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear him talk at all.
Yeah.
But it's ripple effect, right? And unfortunately, they create waves for things.
Yes. And the problem is markets don't like waves. I've had businesses, and you'll have some months it's like, okay, well, we didn't make enough money this month, we got to pull out of our savings. Or, well, we made too much money this month. So you have your ups and your downs. In a private business, that's fine. A privately held business, that works fine. Wall Street despises it. When the stock in Apple drops because they come out and they made too much profit for that quarter than what they had estimated, the markets go, oh, we're going to drop the price of your stock because you evidently don't know what you're talking about when you're estimating your profit margins for the quarters. So we can't trust you now. And markets do not like uncertainty. They don't like surprises.
Well, no one does.
Yeah, and they don't like, just let's try this and see what happens. You can do that in a small company. You cannot do that with entire economies. So with those things happening, right now, today, okay, well, now the tariffs are back down. They're still higher than they were, which is basically, 10% inflation across the board, 30% inflation across the board that we're looking at, and a new tax for everything off China, 10% off everything else in the world. But that's only for 90 days unless something happens between now and then, and now we're going to change it, and I'm mad again. And it's you've sort of got this the checks and balances have failed. And anytime we see that, all I can say is, I don't know. When Congress isn't doing its job, the judiciary is trying to do theirs, and the executive branch is just doing what they want to do, saying, well, I'm not going to listen to the judicial, and I don't care what the
So we got three kids fighting.
Yes.
They're throwing snowballs hard.
Which are the foundations of our society. At that point, you just go, I don't know.
Well, as a small business owner, I don't like the ups and downs and the not knowing. Like as someone who really got into real estate, and I got really good during cheap money days,
Yeah.
And I had to learn patience after that. Oh, I hated that part because I remember putting houses on the market Friday, turning off notifications and looking at my email Monday and picking the best offer. Well, that's gone.
Right.
But that's also why I pivoted into what I do from where I was.
Right.
If I wish, if we had 3-4% mortgages, it would be a different world, right?
Yeah.
And again, no one can predict what's coming.
Well, and I would say right now, even if we had mortgages back down around 6%, 5%, we'd still have a problem. I mean, there's been a buildup of inventory.
Not in my price point. That's why we're
Not
there.
in your price point, right? But we have seen definitely in Florida an uptick in inventory. So supply is coming up, and demand is
But it's
not.
kind of a good thing in some way, supply, because, it overpriced our market way too much.
did.
And then when COVID ended and everybody moving here from the north with cash,
Right.
we benefited greatly from that.
Right.
But we also knew down the line there was going to be a ripple effect, as you said, because we created this, this level of housing, and then you have the insurance falling behind it, and then taxes.
Yeah.
That now Florida for Floridians is unaffordable.
Exactly. Absolutely. There's that. And I think that if the interest rates dropped to 6%, I don't think
Which is a good number.
Yeah, I don't think they have to go below that. I think
No.
at 6%, I think we would soak up the inventory that's on the market right now like that. It would
Right.
be gone. So we still have the problem that there's, ever since the 2008 to 2012 Great Recession we had, which was really based on housing.
But different, what they did in the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That led to that was
Yeah.
a different reason. But we've just never recovered construction. The rebuilding has never. And I heard this morning, Redfin just came out with a report this morning that more people are buying much older homes because that's all that's out there. And I'm like, yeah.
Or manufactured.
Or manufactured homes. That's the thing. I mean, yeah, you've got this niche where it's, and I had a friend who always said to live with the classes, you got to deal with the masses, and building
you've said that to me a couple
building
times.
workforce housing. I don't call it affordable housing. Building workforce housing.
Yeah.
People who have jobs, they have good paying jobs. They just cannot afford what's out there simply because of the pricing. And
Especially for the first time home buyer.
yeah, first time home buyers, and you're building them in a way that their insurance is cheaper. Taxes are not horrible because they're in areas where the taxes are not extremely high. So all those things come together to make that workforce housing more affordable to people.
But you've described that's my avatar.
Right.
And the first time home buyer who needs help.
Right.
And we serve that area really well. And we're going to continue. Like, a lot of the deals that I've put together to where I can get better pricing on the units was to lower my price point, not to become more profitable, because now we found out that once we go above 270, that buying pool disappears.
Yep.
But we're in the 260s, dirt's flying off the market. And
Yeah.
give them 1,800 plus square feet on an acre. It's not as nice as some of the stuff we did before. The kitchen's really nice. And now, because of the volume we've given our one manufacturer, some of the things we want to change, they're going to change for us.
Yeah, there's a big push right now to raise the upper limit again for FHA loans for purchase prices. I think it's $450, $470 now, and they want to raise it even higher. I'm like, that's not. I don't see that as really helpful, except maybe in some markets.
Like not here.
Not here.
In California, right?
California,
New York, up
absolutely,
there. But here,
yeah.
I mean, they got to, if they could, instead of, hey, don't up the price, figure out how to lower the interest rates.
Right.
Because when you reduce that number, you really help the monthly
Right.
payment.
Right.
We were at they had the expo here last week, and we spent, I had signed up for this development course there, $800, and I didn't take one day in it because I had so many meetings back to back with lenders. Because first time there, the importance of it was when I was learning about what we can do for now our buyers all along the way. Like one of the lenders has a 3.5% down conventional loan
Wow.
with no PMI for people with amazing credit. We have people in our pipeline like that. So now we just, if I don't have that meeting and ask the questions as I know what to, because I want to be face to face and I want to go back and forth with questions because they're going to tell me something that's going to lead me to a different road. So then that came up and I was like, wait a minute, no PMI, you're sure? We have somebody with 800 credit score who doesn't have a lot of money. They have good income though. And we'll give them the 3%, right? Boom, done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's because what I've learned along this journey is that you have to learn everything in some ways, or just keep learning and learning. And now I have the ability to understand more. And when it comes across, it's like, oh, as an operator as well, I'm like, oh, I know how to use this, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the importance. And you've always talked about reading and learning and growing.
Well, it's experience, and I think, you got to have experience, and that only comes with time. And unfortunately, it comes with losses. You make some mistakes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you learn. You learn more from your mistakes than you learn from your wins.
I can tell you all the houses. I can name the house I lost money on.
Yeah.
28 to date.
Yeah, and it does. But that's why I always say it takes everybody about 5 years. Everybody says, "Oh, I can build a business in 1 year." Well, you can build the starts of a business in 1 year. 5 years to really build a business that's going to survive on its own. But going back also to what we were saying earlier, you have to get your ego out of the way. You have, and your ego is both fear and pride. Your fear is, well, if I have everybody else doing everything, why am I important? If nobody needs me to answer the questions all day, why am I important? And I'm not important, and I always have to be important.
No.
So there's that fear, but then there's also the pride of, oh, I'm the hero all day. I love being the hero, but you can never scale if you can't do that. You've got to say, I got to get my fear and my pride out of the way, let other people take the reins, and I'm going to do what only I can do, and that's find out big relationships, big deals.
But so, great book, Ego is the Enemy. And, having come from having the fear in that and the ego in that, I don't believe I really have a lot of that anymore. We're always going to have some.
Yeah.
I love it when my team wins and I'm not needed.
Right.
Okay? And I push everything on to the people I've hired at that level because they're capable.
Yeah.
For a reason. We had the investor meetup the other day, and we're on the call, and just my normal, there was an issue, and I said, oh, I'll handle that. And she said, oh, is that worth your hourly? And I was like, ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I don't,
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you show up and do your job, everything's going to be fine. All right, I didn't need to be there anymore.
Right.
But I hired better people.
Yeah.
That was one. One thing I have in my executive team is all women. What I've really come to see is that they're more collaborative. Even when one's having the bad week, they'll still be up for everyone else. With a guy, I watched it, they'll never do that, right? For me, growing up with basically, like my mom basically, my dad was dying, raised me, I'll never be the way I am with some of the guys, right? And that's good for me too, because then it keeps me more professional. And the journey of watching them win the game, I don't need to win anymore. It's better for us, right? Only call me like the last minute of the game or we're in overtime. Oh, you know what? When there's a problem. Getting to there was hard. And singing Frozen along the way was probably, oh man. Because we never want to let go.
And you talked about your hourly. A lot of people, they don't ever sit down and go, what is my time worth per hour? And the way you do that is you start backwards. You go, okay, well, how much money would I like to make a year? How many hours a week would I like to work a week? Okay, so what is that worth an hour now? There's your hourly rate. So anything you look at, mowing the grass at your house. I have some clients who are like, no, that's my time, that's my meditation.
My wife talked me out of that years ago because of kids, right?
Yeah.
And I still think I could do it better.
Yeah.
Right? It was nicer, but guess what? I don't do it.
Right, and you've got to look at it and go, is it worth my hourly rate to be out here mowing grass?
My assistants have assistants, okay?
Yeah.
Because so what happened is, we do that time and energy audit where you give everything a dollar sign. I really only work on the $4 sign. It's 1 through 4. My assistants only work on 3 and 4s. The 1s and 2s were handed off, and then I was able to hand off. And to watch them in the beginning, they were like, "Oh, I could never delegate. I can't do that." So we have somebody who watches all my email, and it's not my main assistant. It's one of the other assistants, one of the the ones down. And then that way now. So Jeannie, my EA, is working on $3 and $4 items of hers, but some of those are my 3. Really important. I can trust her with that because she's not overworked. And as she's become more and more valuable, that assistant made her so much more valuable to me.
Well, and one of the things that we're finding too is that AI is actually taking that even more of that off. You talk about watching your emails. I'd looked at having my assistant watch my emails. I found an AI that does it. And it watches it goes ahead and prepares a response. I have to check it because sometimes it hallucinates, but I come up with it gives me a really good start to an answer. It's saving me probably 15, 16 hours a week.
Yeah, so having the person there, because she responds, but multiple boxes, she forwarded it to somebody who should have been that recipient instead, okay?
Yeah.
But you have to train people. You have to teach. I think as entrepreneurs, we say we never have time. If you want this freedom, you have to teach somebody to see what you're looking at, and that's hard.
Right.
You know.
Well, it goes to the training, but that also goes to letting go of that ego again. You've got to say, oh, well, I'm going to train somebody to do this. And yeah, I'm training myself out of this job that I don't.
That I shouldn't have anyway.
That I shouldn't have anyway. But you've got to say, yeah, I'm going to train. And I've had that problem with people in the past that work for me, that I can't get them to train someone lower to do what they do, because they're like, but then what do I do? I go, trust me.
I got stuff for
we'll
you.
find other things for you to do. And they go, well, I don't want to do other things. I enjoy this. I go, well, then I'm probably never going to promote you or give you a raise, because you've hit the ceiling at that point.
And I love author Dan Martell. So use his buyback time method to do the emails. And now I've listened to his. So I have a routine in the morning that I try to keep. I listen to one of his podcast episodes almost daily. And in the sauna I do it. Then I take notes. And they had one on AI in your business. So what I did was I downloaded the podcast, had it transcribed, gave both to the department heads, all three of them, because they're the ones who are on the forefront of need of this. Said, hey, listen to it, read it, then give me back how you could or couldn't or don't want it in your area. And then it was my job to find someone to come in to implement it. I went to we sponsored a meetup with whatever, Frank Hopkins' group and all that. I meet an AI implementer, right? And he's coming in, he wants to barter real estate services. He wants to be coached, and he's going to put it into our business, because we're going to use our VAs to oversee that. Chatbot, sales, all of that, right? So now we've just increased our footprint even more. But I didn't do anything. I just ran into some guy and I said, oh, hey, look at this, right? If he can do it, then fantastic.
Yeah. And I heard a story yesterday that AI companies are priding themselves on how few employees they can have. There's an AI company out there that's only got 6 employees right now, and they're a startup, and they had 10, and they took it back to 6 because they're like, well, we really don't need the 10. And they're living by example of showing how the AI can save so much headcount that they don't need.
You still need some, we don't want terminators, we laughed about before, but we're going to have somebody looking at it.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And it's just in the sense that I believe in it, but I still want it looked at.
Oh, yeah. No, I've had my AI has completely hallucinated statutes that don't exist.
I sent it to you about the stuff on, you're like, I sent something about this land trust and the loan issue, and he was like, oh, you're using AI, but they don't know how to, but you see the difference in it.
Yeah. And I said, it's the way you're asking the question. And the AI thinks this is happening, but actually this is happening. So the AI is absolutely right if what happens there happens, but no. But I've had it actually hallucinate an entire statute in Florida that never existed. And it had a citation and everything. I said, well, let me go look at the statute just to make sure.
Well, I've used it really good as, we argued 2 appraisals recently, and we got some on one, and then the other one we got full only, but I want a VA reconsideration of value. The guy gave me a crappy appraisal back in December 23, and because of him, I created a database of all my appraisals, because if they ask for concessions, we get the appraisal. And he gave me $40 a square foot of the price differential between, say the square foot of theirs and mine in the comp. Back in 23 for a single wide. He gave me $40 on my double wide in 25. I didn't argue anything else, but he was 65% under what every other appraiser is giving, okay? And more importantly, I could document it because of him. And I didn't argue his name, nothing. We just said here, he gave me full value. His whole response was list price. Didn't want to talk anything, but and you know how I can get sometime. And I always say, don't make me stop and turn my attention. I go to the MHI, and Scott Turner, the HUD secretary's there. So we got a ticket to the little, the fireside group they had, because we were new. And he wanted to talk about streamlining the appraisal process. And I brought up what just happened because I had a choice, take $20,000 less or move on. I wasn't going to take 20. We were going to negotiate. But that's what's wrong in some of the systems, because how can this appraiser just do whatever he wants? And having taken a class, I had somebody teach me for 2 days, an appraiser, and in the end I said, you can do whatever the hell you want. He's like, well, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. Then there has to be a standardized number. If one guy can do what he wants, because he showed me, I can drop this comp in, but it's not a comp, it's on 8 acres in this. He's like, yeah, I can kill you on it. So that's using a different set of rules if you want to. And that needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Well, and also I remember after the Great Recession, they brought in the companies, the appraisal.
The AMCs.
Yeah, that bring them together, and because they didn't want the mortgage brokers talking directly to the appraisers, so now you just pull one.
Oh, yeah.
And we went through a period there where they were pulling appraisers from Jacksonville to appraise things in Polk County, and it's like
Well, but back then, let me tell you. So if I know a mortgage broker who's not in it anymore, and when he talks about those days, he gets a glimpse in his eye like he was a pirate.
Yeah.
Because if the appraisal was light, I could just do this. So,
Yeah.
I know we got to
saw
wrap
that.
it up in a second. And if you're a new investor and they come and they're not going to use land trust, what do you say to them?
Well, if they're a new investor and they're not using land trusts, I say, okay, well, I just tell them stories of all the things that have gone bad over the years. And the big one is, they go, well, I want to just use my LLC to buy and sell everything. And I go, okay, well, how is your LLC taxed? How is this happening? What is, who's in charge of it? All kinds of things, and I go, okay, now when
How much mail do you want to get? How much you want to open?
And I've got one. I've got one that they never use land trust. They always use their LLC, and then lo and behold, they're calling me. I mean, it's been a few years, and they're calling me. Hey, we sold a house 2 years ago, and now they're coming after us saying that we didn't put the roof on right. They've got mold in the children's room. It's torn up the air conditioners. They've got mold, and they're all getting sick, and they want to sue us for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars because of mold that they say we caused because we didn't do the roof correctly. And I go, and it's your LLC, right? Yeah. And I go, and how many houses do you have right now in that LLC? Oh, we got about 100. I go, yeah. And
You're in trouble.
Tons of money, tons of property, everything. I said, everything's at stake. So yeah, this is a bet the company litigation now because you didn't want to use land trust at each one.
And some lawyers saw what you have.
Yep. They
right?
looked them up and they said, oh, great. Yeah, they have liability insurance as a company. But they also have all these properties. Yeah, they got $1 million coverage. That's fine. There's $1 million. And I can tell you right now, there are certain law firms, especially in Florida. One of them's the largest personal injury attorney in the country. Their number one ask is always, they go, send me your liability policy. You have to send it to them. They get it. And they go, okay, policy limit's $1 million. We're going to ask for $1 million. I mean, off the bat, that's what they do. And
Right.
and if the insurance company fights back at all, they go, great, now we're going to sue you for bad faith, which means policy limits are out the window. We're going to go for millions and millions of dollars for bad faith now. So if it were a land trust, and we've had it happen, they look at it and they go, oh, there's no liability insurance now because the trust is closed, it's gone. Well, there's no insurance. No, there's no insurance. Well, then we just tell them there's no case, and they let the case go.
Yeah, and it's people. Someone had told me they thought it was $1,500, $5,000. It's not. It's just another cost of doing business, protecting everything you own, but more importantly, you open all my mail. We get nice. I have somebody whose job it is to take that email, open it up, and decide who's responsible. Is it property management or is it operations project?
Right.
I don't even look at.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife's like, I'm getting all these emails now. I'm like, 'cause it's yours.
Yeah, no, I pick up the mail some days at the post office.
Nice.
And it comes to the post office and it comes to our office, and it is literally at least a minimum of 1 pound a day of mail.
Okay, there's your workout, right?
Yeah, at least 1 pound. Yes, the past few days it's been probably 3 or 4 pounds because some water bills are starting to come in from different counties.
Taxes and all.
Taxes. Oh my God, the taxes. We always set aside. We bring in interns from high schools and everything, and they go through the tax bills.
Oh my God, yeah,
Zip
we get
them
them
open, get them.
because we have to decide properties, whatever,
Yes.
But what I can tell people is also that, you work with somebody who handles this part, but also they build a relationship over time to where that's the true value. Because I know we're here because of our relationship in a lot of ways. I mean, you saved my duplex deal day one. You didn't really know me. They were just doing. You didn't really charge me a lot either. It was great back then. I didn't have any money.
A lot of times
and it was over a Saturday. You're like, yeah, I'll have this for you first thing Monday. And you're not an early person really.
No.
And you did. You had me the contract. It was when I woke up Monday. It was there to send to the people because back then I didn't even know how to prepare the contract.
Yep. Now I do a lot of work on Sunday night. I do.
I know that for a fact.
I sit there watching TV and I'm with my laptop just banging out documents on Sunday nights while I'm watching my shows.
And that's what they don't realize. Like that's the real value here. And look, I appreciate you coming and thanks for everything you do. Everybody, Joe Seagle, thanks again. We'll see you soon.